Omnisport Breakfast with MKT and Kevin McCollum on Omnisport Africa.
At the COP, they're saying you're getting sacked in the morning. It's because Liverpool won 2-0.
They did indeed. So I actually recorded it.
You love that, Kev?
I love it. And then but he held up his hands, Pep Guardiola held up his hands to show 6. So he's got 6 titles. Yeah. And the last person to do that was Lance Armstrong when he held up his hands to show he won 7 Tour de France. And let's see. Those are they dodgy titles? Were they bought and paid for by dodgy money? But I think there were almost like 2 moments in that game that sort of summed up where Liverpool and City were. Rico Lewis jumped out of a tackle, Andy Robertson. In the next 87 seconds after that, Liverpool hit the post, forced a save, and then Mo Salah constructed that goal for Cody Gakpo. It was different football. Kyle Walker was nowhere for the penalty, and he basically just watched as Luis Diaz ran past him. I think Kyle Walker is a liability. I think it is an aging team, and they are a broken machine.
Glad you brought up Kyle Walker. He's always been one I've never understood. So, Trent's always getting accused of being poor on defense, right? Yeah. Kyle Walker's now being exposed for being the same because he's losing his pace. So he used to be able to make up for his poor technical ability as a defender with his pace. His pace is now waning. Well, now this is what happens. And I thought he was absolutely dreadful. Diaz was all over him all night last night. Liverpool's goals coming from Gakpo and Salah. That cross by Mo Salah, by the way, for that first goal is a thing of beauty. And I will say, when I've always said Mo Salah might be the most selfish player I've ever seen in front of goal, right? Which is a striker's right. But he's not shooting there. That is very, very clearly a cross. And you cannot put it in a better place. So they it's like in cricket, they say, that's all they ask you to do. Right, in academy football, they say, number 1, put it in the corridor of uncertainty. Yeah. Right? But the other thing, so what Cody Gakpo did was classic wing play. So in football, right, at the academy level, they teach you that there's a great term for it. They say, shut the back door. So the back door is that back post cross. That last winger or your centre forward must make a choice, right? The centre forward comes near, somebody goes penalty spot, and somebody must always, and Cristiano Ronaldo was the absolute best at this, shut the back door. And Cody Gakpo, that was classic shutting the back door play. And just a thing of, it looked like a FIFA game. Unreal pass by Mo Salah, who's saying, I'm more out than in. Liverpool fans want him in. That was an unbelievable performance.
Yeah, Mo Salah, it was the player of the match for me, without a doubt. That cross, I kept watching it, and it just like almost skidded through. It was like a little curve on it. Kyle Walker again, with ball watching, and Cody Gakpo almost like didn't have to do anything. It just almost hit him on the knee to go in. It's such easy football. And apparently Salah now is trying to force their hand. Apparently he's close to signing a pre-season contract with an overseas club. Nobody knows which one yet. If I was Richard Hughes, the director of football, I'd get in and I'd sort that out quickly.
I wonder where he could go. Real Madrid? Because he's not too old to do a Real Madrid. Spanish football, I think he could give you a solid 2 years at that level. And then Rodrigo is probably going to have to find himself as a rotation option. Sorry, son. It's Mbappe, it's Vinicius, and it's Mo Salah.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out whether I want Mo to stay for 3 years, as he wants, or the 2 year thing. And the pragmatism of not giving him a contract. What happens if in 2 years' time his pace just falls off dramatically? Because 34, 35, you start looking a bit leggy, looking a bit off the game. So they are saying, well, if we pay him £300,000 a week or £350,000 a week, that's a lot of waste of money. And that's not the way FSG work their teams. They don't spend money for the sake of it.
So I was texting with a former Egyptian striker who is considered, he's a guy called Hossein Hassan, who I was fortunate enough to meet through my mother. So he's won African Player of the Year 3 times. And I said to him, do you think there's any chance Mo Salah would want to come back to Egypt? Because by the way, the guy owns Al Ahly, is like one of the richest human beings in the world. The guy's a multi-billionaire. And there is no FFP in Egyptian football, just to be clear. So he could afford, as he did with Mohamed Abu Trika, right? Yeah. Abu Trika never left because he was on £200,000 a week here. So why leave when your people love you? I would give anything for Mo Salah to go, what more do I need to do in world football? You're clearly not going to give me the Ballon d'Or. Imagine Mo Salah. I mean, it wouldn't happen. Imagine he played for Al Ahly. That would be insane.
Well, according to L'Equipe, he's been talking to PSG. So the door is open there. Let's see.
Don't do that.
No, don't do that. It's a nothing of a club.
Don't
nothing
do
of a
that.
league.
Yeah, no, don't. I mean, that would be an absolute disaster. Hey, my real question is, are Man City making the top 4? We need to have this conversation. We did not think we'd be having this conversation at the beginning of the season. And I don't think it's like a, hey, clickbaity thing to be asking. I think Man City are in serious trouble because this kind of rot. I remember as a Chelsea fan under Antonio Conte, we won the league and we came 10th in the next season.
Yeah.
And it was like at the beginning, I was like, nah, they'll turn it on. 20 games and nah, don't worry about it. Yeah, they'll turn it on. Before you know it, we're 10th and Conte is fired. So I don't think Man City realize how you can't just turn it on. And this isn't the same Premier League as 15 years ago. This Premier League has Ipswich being able to draw with Manchester United.
Yeah. I think he's allowed. He's coasted a bit. Pep Guardiola. He hasn't developed. He hasn't evolved his team, and he hasn't added to it in the right way. He thought that Haaland would be the great guy, the savior of the team. And Haaland's also fallen off the pace. He's not looking good at the moment.
It's a great point, Kevin. I think they've signed really badly. You remember there, Calvin Phillips, who couldn't stop eating food. He was overweight. They had to let him go. Nunes has not hit the straps. Kovacic, although being good, he's clearly no Rodri. And the one thing I liked about Chelsea letting Kovacic go, he's injury prone. Injury prone again. Like, he's never going to give you 25 Premier League games. So you're seeing that's leaving a hole in the midfield. His defense is aging. Ruben Diaz has been out most of the season. John Stones, those injuries that plagued his entire career. Yeah. John Stones is injured again. So now you don't have him, is part of this thing of where Fergie separated himself from everyone. He would let players go a season too early rather than a season late. He didn't mind if you went and spent a year being successful elsewhere, but I'd rather let Roy Keane go once he starts, being that guy a year early. Let him go, and I'll bring in Michael Carrick. Everyone, Ronaldo. Eventually he let him go. So this Fergie was brilliant. I remember in Rio Ferdinand's book, Fergie said when Rio Ferdinand arrived at Manchester United, and Rio Ferdinand he went to Rio Ferdinand and said, "Hey, take a look around here." This was after the treble season. He said, "Take a look around here. Who do you admire?" And Rio Ferdinand said, "Dwight York." And he said, "No, don't follow him. He's slacking." And he's starting. Yeah. It's in Rio Ferdinand's book. So this is where Fergie was brilliant, right? And I think this is where Pep has never had to do it. He's never had to refresh a third squad.
Yeah.
He's never had to refresh a third squad. So he's learning there. Are they making the top 4? Would love to hear. You can send your WhatsApps and voice notes, of course, to 0788 777716. The Hammers got absolutely hammered. 5-2 by the Arsenal. That's right, 5-2. All of those goals came in the first half, by the way. Every single goal, I'm telling you there, 5-2, 7 goals in one half. Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Emerson, a brilliant free kick by Emerson for the Hammers, the Irons there. And then for Arsenal, it was Gabriel, Trossard, Odegaard, Havertz, and Saka. My big question from the game was, obviously, Odegaard's brilliant, whatever. They're back, they're humming. My question is, why did West Ham fire David Moyes?
Exactly. It was a massive mistake. He was I've used this word before on the show today, pragmatic. He's a pragmatic coach, and he worked with his limitations and worked within those limitations, and the squad is limited. And ever since they sold Declan Rice to Arsenal, they haven't filled that gap up. They're not a nothing team, but they're just not a strong team.
It's a great point. No, Kev, you've made a great point. Remember when Spurs sold Gareth Bale and they brought in 8 players? Yeah. And they thought, we'll supplement. That's not how it works.
No, it's that one talisman player.
Yeah.
It is like, that's Liverpool's dilemma now. Do we get rid of Mo Salah? He's our talisman player at the moment.
Yeah.
It's not Conor Bradley. It's not Trent Alexander-Arnold. It's Virgil van Dijk to an extent. But it's Mo Salah. I mean, he's just incredible at the moment. More goal assists or goal involvements than anyone else in the league.
You know what I was looking at the weekend? Everyone's saying Haaland's terrible. He's still the top goal scorer in the league. and Mo Salah's second. I mean, he's an unreal player. But to go back to West Ham, is they sold out for style of play, which is such a stupid thing to be worried about. But David Moyes doesn't give a style of play. He won you a European trophy 2 seasons ago and put you in the top half. I mean, as in the words of Erling Haaland, stay humble. Stay humble, West Ham.
I thought Saka and Odegaard looked like they were on a telepathic line of communication. They were just outstanding together.
It's very annoying how both of those guys are. Not only are they brilliant, they're young. They're under 25, both of them.
Yeah, and it was Odegaard's third start in 8 days. And his fitness is incredible.
It's disgusting how good that guy is. As a Chelsea fan, it is disgusting how good Martin Odegaard, one of the best players in Europe at the moment. Man United, hey, listen, take this one in. Man United 4. So Man United had 4 goals. Everton had 0. Just to be clear, Man United, this is not a drill. Man United have won 4-0. Rashford with 2, Xerxes with 2. Are United back here? Oh, you remember Rio Ferdinand? Sign him up. Give him the contract. But a nice start. A draw against Ipswich, and I guess a thumping of Everton at home. 4-0.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see what style he's playing. I think he's still working that out. But obviously, the new coach has motivated the players, and that's brought in almost a desperation of a bunch of players trying to listen. We better play, otherwise the Ducks going to hook us. He's got his own way of doing things, and he's got his eye on other players to bring in. And if we don't perform, then we're out.
One thing I was watching is the fans are not buying it. And again, I was watching a lot of fan-led content, and they're saying, we've seen this before. They did the same with LVG. They did the same with Mourinho. They did the same with Rolf, where the new manager comes in, there's a new manager bounce, and eventually the players kind of, it becomes player central. So fans are kind of jaded and hoping that doesn't happen again. Ruben Amorim with a good start. All right, results from around the Premier League. 1-1 for Southampton and Brighton. Brentford, another goal fest, 4-1. They beat Leicester City. Crystal Palace drew with Newcastle. Nottingham Forest beat Ipswich Town 1-0. Wolves 4-2. They lost at home against Bournemouth. West Ham lost 5-2 at home. Chelsea 3-0. United 4-0. Spurs drew 1-1 in the London derby. And then, of course, Liverpool 2-0 to finish off your footballing weekend. Well, let's see what effect that had, because every single Friday, brought to you by Betway, we have Kevin's 5 bets. We're going to go through those and also chat about some future bets as well. We're going to do a review of Kevin's 5 bets, which is proudly brought to you by Betway. Kevin's 5 bets, 60 seconds.
Listen live and on demand.
Welcome to Omni Sport.